Billy Eichner says that he responds after Bros underperforms at the box office. Now, here's the problem. A movie underperforms, that's fine. I have no problem with you taking the L if your movie doesn't work. It
was a pretty big L.
Yeah.
What did they make? Like half of what they expected?
Yeah. Less than half of what they expected. So it says
4.8 mil.
Responds after Bros underperforms. Now, blaming the fans is like a strategy that seems to be working when they do it before the movie comes out. I don't know if you want to do this after the movie comes out.
It's pretty common now.
It's not even blaming the fans. It's just blaming the people who weren't interested in seeing it in the first place. And this was already a niche movie for a niche audience anyway. Like, yeah. I don't know if there is a demand for gay rom-coms because it's the first of its kind, seemingly, or one of the first of its kind.
And there's nothing compared to.
Men generally aren't interested in romance films, like as a genre, no matter what the sexuality of the protagonists is. So generally rom-coms are for women.
Yes.
But women want a female character that they can identify with in the rom-com, and they didn't have that.
Love with a man.
They didn't have that this time. So why would you expect this to be a smash? Like, I don't understand.
Not just that, no star power really around it.
Yeah, nobody's.
Like,
and then there were the premiere invited nobodies. Like social media influencers, basically.
And the actor in Eichner, basically, he lists all the reasons that don't actually draw. It's my favorite part when he lists all the reasons why you should go see it. He literally it's like he went somewhere and he picked up a list of all the reasons people don't go see movies and then read from that list. So he says, Rolling Stone already has Bros on the list of the best comedies of the 21st century. What's also true is that at one point, a theater chain called Universal said they were pulling the trailer because of the gay content. And then it says they were convinced not to. And then he says, America, F yeah. And then we're going to get into the really bad stuff right now. He says, that's just the world we live in, unfortunately. Even with glowing reviews, great Rotten Tomatoes scores, and an A+ cinema score, and an A cinema score, straight people, especially in certain parts of the country, just didn't show up for Bros, and that's disappointing, but it is what it is. That is your fault. That is not their fault. It is your fault that things don't work out, and I'm going to prove it to you. So we have another movie that came out this weekend. Did you guys hear about Smile?
Yes.
Okay. Smile
their marketing campaign went viral.
That's
and
my point.
It was really successful.
So I have this article here that says Smile viral marketing campaign hides creepy smiling people at baseball game. Mm-hmm. This is how you market a movie. You do not make it about identity politics. You do not tell people that they're bad if they don't show up for your movie. I imagine that they would say that Smile would say people who don't enjoy smiling didn't show up for our movie, therefore it's their fault. In fact, that'd be really funny if they were like depressed people are the reason nobody went to see our movie. So
I'm surprised to say I just got onto Rotten Tomatoes to see the audience score because when he said, "Oh, we had a great Rotten Tomatoes score," I bet he was saying the reviewers. But actually, the audience score is 92%. It's higher than the reviewers.
That's fine, but it's
because
niche
the people
audience.
who liked it a lot. Yeah. But that audience is gonna be small because it's a small budget niche movie.
And my point here is, I always come back to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has now made a fortune marketing movies.
It all comes back to Tom Cruise
every time,
making movies for everybody to go see. It's the biggest hypocrisy of the concept of inclusion, right? It's not inclusion. It's come see our movie or else. That's not the same thing. Tom Cruise literally markets to everyone. Whether you like it or not, making niche movies will develop you niche audiences. You don't get to just make the niche product and then get mad that it doesn't have mass appeal.
Yeah, so like they made and marketed a movie for specifically the LGBT audience, received good reviews and reception from them and them only because that's who it was for. We're talking a lot about who movies are for and who they're not for. It was for the LGBT audience. Yep. But then he expects the same box office results as a movie that is made and marketed for everyone, which is something like Maverick or something like a Marvel movie.
Or even Free Guy did it had long legs, didn't do super well off the bat. But if we're talking about, what was the other one? I'm sorry, the one that had The Lost City, Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum this year did very, very, very well. romantic. I don't know if you call it a romantic comedy, but it's a romance film of sorts, like a romantic comedy adventure film that did very, very well because it marketed to everyone. And it's
There's
not like
another rom-com with J-Lo
that nobody saw. That nobody saw. And that's another conversation.
So you have to do it right, though.
Another conversation we could be having right now is Julia Roberts or somebody this year said, "What happened to romantic comedies? They're basically dead."
Julia Roberts is in the works for another rom-com that she feels calls back to that golden age of 90s rom-coms, but like updated for what relates to people today. So it's going to be about like a divorced couple that falls back in love or something.
This happens with the WNBA. Why don't men come and support our league? But women don't
even
support,
chicks watch
but
that.
women don't support the league anyways.
It's a rebound fest.
We keep subdividing everybody into smaller and smaller groups, and then get mad when the return on your investment marketing to smaller and smaller groups is smaller and smaller.
I mean, if you look at the target audience for Bros, it's not just LGBT in general. It's gay men because that's who is being depicted in the movie. Yeah. But like, you're not guaranteed to find an enthusiastic audience there either because generally men, whether they're gay or straight, are not interested in the rom-com genre.
It almost seems kind of like stereotypical to tell them that they're like they would like it because they're gay.
Yeah, it's like writing an erotica novel that's like sold at grocery stores and then wondering why men aren't receiving it. Like if it's like a gay erotica novel, like why aren't men buying this novel? It's for them. Yep. But like that's something that specifically women buy.
And here's the nail in the coffin of this guy who just couldn't shut up.
Sorry, to add to that point, isn't the LGBTQ market hella saturated as well?
In TV, not in film, not as much, not as far as like stuff directed specifically for them. If we were talking TV, yes, there's a very large market for that audience right now. But I don't even know if you could necessarily say that there's a strong return on that investment either. Remember the show where it was
the
like
lesbian vampire show?
Vampires,
because that's an entire marketing campaign, right?
Well, then you have Charlie's Angels, and they're saying this is for women, and then men don't. It's like they keep getting mad at men for not showing up to stuff that they're not invited to.
It's not made for you, but give us your money.
But give us your money anyway.
Like, why would straight people be interested in this?
I mean, maybe it's a great story. Apparently, it's entertaining, but I'm going to go at it from a different side. And sorry, Brett, I know you wanted to segue into something else. I didn't hear any of this movie until today.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of it. So, I mean, that's a marketing fail.
That's what happened with Charlie's Angels as well. So they had like zero marketing budget. The only people that knew about it were people like me who watched shows that were talking about how stupid Elizabeth Banks was for the way that she was talking about the movie.
I heard about Bros only because I think it was being heavily marketed to like straight white women, like Awfuls. And like those were the people I saw at the Bros premiere.
Yeah.
I saw TikTokers.
That's the greatest acronym of all time, by the way.
What is it? Affluent white female liberals.
Yeah,
that's like that sector, and then LGBT people were the target audience for the film, and that's not going to end up covering like all straight women. It's only a certain sector of them. So why would you expect to have mainstream appeal when it's explicitly not for that?
I also want to point out that this director is full of absolute garbage because he can pretend like middle America doesn't want to support this movie all at once. Will and Grace was a thing like before I was born. Okay, not before I was born. Like 20 years ago, Will and Grace was a thing. Will and Grace was extremely popular. Brokeback Mountain, before a decade ago, 15, 20 years ago, that movie came out. Both did Brokeback Mountain had better like word of mouth, so it made more money over a period of time. And I think I read somewhere earlier that its box office was like 178 million, but 178 million back then is a lot more money than that is now.
Also, I have to push back with your comment of, I guess not your comment, but your opinion that the LGBTQ genre isn't oversaturated. Perhaps not in film. If you think of...
No, I'm saying in terms TV it is.
In terms of thematics, I'm saying in media it is.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
And it's reached absolute market saturation. And I remember Brokeback Mountain being a big deal when we used to care about the Oscars, and it had two compelling actors, but that was a movie, and it had a story, and it had a soul.
Yep.
And now, and this is what really saddens me the most about what they do with most minority groups, is that they are a product.
Yep.
They are They are a consumer product that is sold in a deeply, disingenuous way, and when it fails, it's like, well, isn't America bigoted? It's like, no, America isn't bigoted, actually, not even compared to the rest of the world. I think just in its own right, it isn't. But you have a soulless, boring product. These movies are, I'm not saying this one in particular, but typically when these issues get introduced in movies and series, it's like the Target t-shirts, like, proud to be whatever.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, you're just selling a t-shirt.
So, but how are you sure that it's not a good quality product?
I'm not saying
it's made for, because it seems like,
I'm not saying this one. I'm saying that because it's been done so much and the market is so saturated with that thematic, be it HBO, be it comic books, be it not games, although some, be it, film series, people are sick of it because they know the angle of which they're going to hit it. And perhaps came a product that would have been generally interesting and entertaining for us, regardless of the fact that we were the target audience or not. But in all the noise, it just got lost.
Yeah. So another thing that can work in these movies' favors is longer legs, right? Your immediate first week box office doesn't have to be the greatest thing in the world if the movie has good word of mouth and long legs, meaning that it can make a whole lot more money if people keep showing up to the movie and there's lower drops from week to week. That's actually what like Woman King is like holding steady now, because the drops from week to week are very low or mid-level. So this movie could have had that. But theoretically,
it seems to have good word of mouth among the people who liked it.
Yes, but
that's
they're
still
not gonna,
a niche.
Yes, so
audience.
they need to now expand outwards, away from the niche audience and into the regular audience.
What they're saying, even though they're a niche film for a niche audience, it's that everyone who hasn't seen it is the weirdo.
Yes.
Yeah.
They said everyone who isn't a homophobic weirdo should go see Bros.
I'm going to read the quote in full. So this is what I'm saying. He could have taken the L on the first week and allowed the good word of mouth from the critics, even if we don't believe that matters. They clearly think that matters. Let the good word of mouth build. Say something humble, and then say, and it would be great. More of these movies will get made if more people go out and see it. Don't immediately become defensive. This is his quote. He says, everyone who isn't a homophobic weirdo should go see Bros tonight. You will have a blast, and it is special and uniquely powerful to see this particular story on a big screen, especially for queer folks who don't get this opportunity often. I love this movie so much. Go Bros.
What do you got to bring that energy, though? See that this is my issue. Is like, what do you got to bring the negative energy to your movie?
That's what I'm saying.
Just say moviegoers that enjoy a hilarious rom-com, moviegoers that enjoy high quality film. Why does it always have to be this like them versus us energy?
The emphasis on it is special and powerful when no one was really railing against it like that, saying that it's not special or powerful to the people who watched it. No one said that it wasn't those things, but you're responding as if there's all that pushback when you're getting universal praise from critics, universal praise from your target audience.
Because now not responding is the same. Silence is violence. Not responding at all is the same thing. By not going to the movie, that's their take on it.
You know that the critics are going to praise it.
Yep.
You know that because you have to. You can't give this movie a negative review. It's not acceptable.
No, it would not. Well, here's the funny thing.
That's not okay.
I have Christian Toto's review here, which is extremely fair to the movie, but he points out, he tends to point out the areas where people might disconnect, people that aren't part of the community who go to see it might disconnect from the film. So he says, Bobby is spearheading, this is one of the characters, a new LGBT plus museum project with his fellow creators, bickering about President Abraham Lincoln's gay vibes and other issues, the film stops over and over again to deliver a lecture on gay rights, historical punishments, and more. The Stonewall riots get repeatedly name-checked before the first act wraps, so it gets bogged down in its own commentary when it doesn't need to do it's self-referential and
in a self-sabotaging way.
So it says he includes several off-putting scenes that may upend the film's plea for tolerance. An early sequence finds Bobby talking to a straight couple and with their young children present. The chat veers into gay sex details, and Bobby asks, and rightly so, if the conversation is appropriate for young ears. Also, another thing working out against this movie is it's R-rated. Mm-hmm. R-rated movies have a harder time at the box office, though arguably not horror movies or rom-coms, I guess, might be fine if you're 18 and older. But it says they talk about there's talk about orgies and also like this is not something that you can bring to all audiences.
And that's
it's just not.
That is not,
no matter straight or gay.
That is not content or language that's generally in straight rom-coms. So if you're trying to assimilate LGBT characters into this genre where they haven't ordinarily been shown, then you need to stay within the boundaries of what is normal and popular in that genre.
If you want to make money.
If you want to make money, but also if you want it to still fit in that genre. So you can't be talking about graphic sexual, you can't be talking about things in a graphic sexual fashion. You can't be talking about orgies in a rom-com if you want it to fit properly into the rom-com genre. That doesn't happen in a J-Lo Owen Wilson film. That doesn't happen in a Julia Roberts film. That's just not a thing in that genre. So if you want to assimilate LGBT characters into the genre seamlessly and get mainstream appeal, you can't include that content.
Or at the very least,
you want to have it. You want to have your cake and eat it too.
You want to
every time.
You want to make the niche product while making not niche money.
Yeah, exactly. And it just shows like the entitlement of Eichner that he would expect not only universal praise from critics, but also from the niche audience he targeted and straight people.
The way this sounds to me, in a way, is that his argument is, and I don't know if I'm generalizing, but it's, hey, listen, I covered all these bonus points, all these points that we revere right now in culture. Like, as a result, I deserve success.
And in all of these ideologies, whether it's LGBTQ plus, not the sexuality, but the ideology of LGBTQ plus, the ideology of feminism are inherently divisive, and divisive means less money. That's just the long and the short of it. You can't really cut it any other way. I have these pictures. If you guys want to look at it, these are the pictures from the viral marketing for Smile. This is how you market a movie. Mm-hmm. They're on daytime TV. Ugh. They're on. Okay, look at that face.
She's so disturbing looking.
It makes you want to know what the hell is going on.
And that's something that's incredibly shareable on social media and on TikTok especially. So,
and they're at baseball games, they're at sporting events, they're on daytime TV, places where everyone, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, gather to watch or consume stuff together.
And people who ordinarily might not be interested in horror films would have heard about it at least.
At the very least. So,
and you can't even, if they wanted to make divisive comments in the marketing for Smile, then it would be about ableism and mental illness being stigmatized in film, but it was never about that.
Nope. It's almost like they've a lot of these movies handicap themselves, and it almost breaks my heart for them. If, as somebody who has been who knows what it's like to be creative and want to see something succeed, like, it breaks my heart to see somebody not realize that they're sabotaging themselves. Right? Like, I can be as angry as I want about the stuff he's saying, and it does annoy me, especially him somehow believing that Hollywood is representative of the entire world. We had a discussion recently where we were talking about how Hollywood really is its own country. Like, they don't represent. I think that was when we were talking about the movie, like the Korean actor, or sorry, like the Chinese movie stars, and being the best representatives of your culture. Like, Hollywood no longer represents America; they represent Hollywood and Hollywood alone.
Yeah, we've talked about that also in the context of celebrities who live in LA for decades and then move out into like somewhere in middle America, and they reveal that they really had no idea what the rest of the country was like, and they thought that this insulated culture that they lived in was the end all be all. And I think that when you listen to Billy Eichner's response to how this movie has been received, you can tell that he's just surrounded by yes men who will.
Well, not even just yes men, but they're terrified to say no, because if you say no, you're a bigot.
Also,
well,
if we're going off the premise that some education needs to be done, I'm putting myself in his shoes. If we're going off the premise that some education needs to be done in whatever the straight community in order to understand
which is BS.
Let's just say the appeal of the movie. Why don't you do it? Why don't tell me?
They can't do that without being condescending. They cannot do it.
No, I mean, capable. Can't they?
No, they can't.
What?
Not they, but they, the Hollywood they.
Don't you
Hollywood does not know how to
do it. That's a good point. But him, human to human, Dane, you know what? You'll like the movie because it's pretty funny and you're a funny guy. Yep. Like something like that. Yep. Something like, hey, it's pretty hilarious, honestly.
Because they have to literally, like, they're patting themselves on the back constantly.
If you're referencing the fact that there hasn't been a lot of LGBT representation in rom-com films, that's true. So if you're referencing that and then you're trying to take the step of contributing a film in that genre for LGBT audiences.
I remember seeing Bridesmaids. You remember that movie?
No.
So Bridesmaids was supposed to be the Hangover, but for chicks. Mm-hmm. And so obviously, not obviously anymore, but I'm not the target demographic.
But you're every woman, though.
Basically. But before I was every woman, I've come to be every woman. But before that, I was not the target demographic, right? And a friend of mine just told me, "Oh man, it's just pretty funny, regardless." I was like, "Okay," and I watched it and I had fun, and it wasn't for me, but it wasn't the greatest movie of all time. But like someone told me it was funny. I opened myself up to it. It was good, and
market wide on generalities. I'm done with the things that claim that this is. Never again do I ever want to hear about how some stupid movie made by gazillionaires in Hollywood has greater societal implications. No, they do not. They have no such societal implications. It's just your own backpatting of yourself. It is not a marketing move. It doesn't make me or anyone normal in a struggling economy want to go see something that you made because it has greater societal implications. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
My point is, if that's what they were going for, if you were trying to make an impact on society and on the tastes of viewers, being a tastemaker and a new step forward in this genre, you failed at doing that because you sabotaged your own film by making it overly raunchy. It's R-rated. You've already cast out a huge amount of that audience that likes rom-coms in the first place because they're supposed to be wholesome and lighthearted and not, full of salacious content. And then you also made watching it into a virtue signal, and no one is interested in that. They just want entertainment.
In a world where the economy is struggling, I finally started seeing like the costs going up. Like when I go to buy groceries,
You're just evil laughing.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like in this economy, in a time when everyone's struggling. Okay, not but expensive, like way more, like extensively more, like. You can't market movies on such a means. You have to offer somebody a reason to go to the movie beyond your own vanity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As a legendary Giga Chad, the thing that's made me notice the price hikes the most is jerky. There was a pack of jerky I used to buy.
Was always
that's because it's always expensive.
No, but there was a pack of jerky that's like this that I used to buy for $10. It's like $17 now. Oh. It's like, brother.
Well, I mean...
So before we move on, I just want to say they talk about how it's hilarious, a hilarious raunchy comedy that also features a terrific cast and a sweet romantic story to tell. Exclude the part about raunchy comedy. You can market it as LGBTQ, but don't make it the main selling point. Make the main selling point a universal ideal. Sweet romantic comedy.
But if that weren't the main selling point, he wouldn't have chosen the title.
I know.
The title Bros is already calling more attention to the sexuality of the protagonists than the story itself.
They want the vanity project license without making the mainstream money.
It's like fatally self-referential and self-aware, and it has these, like Christian Toto pointed out, these moments in the movie that are preachy and lecturing and talking about like history lessons, basically. That's not what anyone comes to a straight rom-com for. Why would you put it in your gay rom-com then?
Exactly. Because they want to turn everything into edutainment and make money as if they're making regular entertainment.
Edutainment is for children. VeggieTales is edutainment.
It's still
that's what that is.
Referencing the Stonewall,
Barney is edutainment.
Referencing the Stonewall riots in your rom-com, as far as I'm concerned, and make more than once. Falls into that category. Oh, you don't know what that is? Here, let me tell you. That's what that feels like to me.
And then they get out a PowerPoint presentation, essentially.
This, yeah, exactly. So another L
so tiresome
for an industry that just can't seem to figure out that the best thing you can do is just make a movie and give basic generalities on how to market it.
The
Great
streaming world
story.
seems to understand that vanity projects aren't the way to go. They don't make as much money.
No, I disagree. I think streaming is almost all vanity projects now.
Well, Netflix is admittedly slashing big budget films for smaller budget ones that are more mass appeal. So
now, but it took him 5 years.
But they're
of nothing
they're
but
coming
failures.
to the realization that vanity projects are not the way to go if you're trying to make money.
I don't know how much this movie cost to make, but it's probably less of an investment than they're not going to make this movie on the scale of a big budget blockbuster, but they can write this off and take the virtue signal points. There's also the distinct possibility that this movie does well in PVOD or streaming, right? So a lot of people might look at this movie, be completely interested in seeing it, and just saying, "I'll wait till it comes out on."
Well, he's hurting the long-lasting hype and memorability for it by making it about himself and his Twitter. His Twitter fingers are sabotaging his movie.
And that's what I'm saying. Like he was not thinking long-term when he started posting that stuff right off the bat. So, thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.